In fourth grade, we were given an assignment to write about our shining star. Most of my classmates wrote about their parents or their grandparents or a celebrity that they looked up to. I chose to write about my best friend Maria. Although we're second cousins, Maria and I didn't meet until her family moved to Morton, where I had grown up my whole life. We were about 8 years old when she moved there. And the truth is, Maria and I didn't get along at first. I have a very vivid memory of one of the first Sundays Maria was in church, and I was going to sit with my friend Ashley during the afternoon service, and she went to ask her mom for permission, and her mom said, "Sure, but you have to invite the new girl to sit with you." And we looked across the room and saw Maria sitting there alone, and I was not pleased because I thought she was pretty dorky looking. She had glasses and a perm, which is pretty interesting because when I was 8 years old, I also had glasses. It didn't take long for me to figure out that Maria was actually pretty cool, and our glasses and our perms were one of the many things we had in common. And we started spending more time together than either of our parents knew what to do with. And so one Christmas, my parents thought it would be funny if they took 2 Christmas card photos, one with me and my 2 sisters, and one with me and my 2 sisters and Maria. And the one with Maria we sent to her parents as a little prank. We both eventually graduated from glasses to contacts and from perms to hair straighteners, but I think we both thought we were much cooler than we actually were, although we did do some pretty cool things together over the years. Other than watching endless hours of Mary-Kate and Ashley movies together, sitting in the same lazy boy chair, we took lots of trips together, including a mission trip to Jamaica. We volunteered at a local nursing home together consistently, and perhaps the most impressive of all is we started our own summer camp. Along with 2 of our other friends, Kelly and Ashley, we created CLAMS Camp, and CLAMS stood for Kelly, Lindsay, Ashley, Maria. And we had kindergartners through 3rd graders, and each day we had a different theme, like La Fiesta or Fun in the Sun or Mad Scientist Day. And we had games and snacks, and we even created our own tie-dye t-shirts for ourselves that said staff on the back. And I have to say, we ran a pretty successful business. By the end of the summer, we each had made a pretty decent profit, and we still laugh to this day about how 4 high schoolers ran a full-fledged summer camp for 2 years. Maria and I used to spend a lot of time dreaming about our futures and how we were both going to be elementary school teachers. And so far, she's held up her end of the deal. She currently teaches 5th grade. And one of her favorite embarrassing stories to tell her students about me is how we would go down behind her house in the woods when we were younger. And in the winter time, when it was snowy and the creek was frozen over, we would pretend to be survivors and walk along the creek and sometimes on the creek. And her and Ashley were too afraid to go on the ice one time, so I took the lead, showing them there was nothing to be afraid of. Well, I fell in. At least one leg fell in. And as I struggled, they stood there and laughed at me. And I had to pull myself out, and with a wet, icy cold leg, I trudged back up the hill to change. And this was the same hill I sledded down a few winters later and hit a tree and broke my leg. So you could say my right leg isn't too fond of the hill behind Maria's house. Besides being elementary school teachers, we also shared a fantasy of marrying 2 best friends so that we could all hang out together all the time and live next door to each other. And that way our kids could grow up, fall in love, and then they'd marry each other. And I'll let you know how that fantasy plays out closer to the end of the story. Our summers were filled with boating, where her dad taught me to get up on water skis and her older brothers taught me to hang on for dear life on the tube. We'd have slumber parties at my house and stay up late with my sisters making home movies on my dad's old camcorder. And we'd take nightly trips to Dairy Queen and trips even further away, like Six Flags with friends, or Florida to Fort Lauderdale. And one summer, I even had the opportunity to go with Marie and her family to Costa Rica. This was by far one of the coolest vacations of my life. We had perfect weather all week. We got to go zip-lining through the jungle to see monkeys and birds, and we also went snorkeling in the ocean and got to see fish and coral and even this really freaky eel under a rock. At one of our hotels, there's the sweetest pool man named Raul, and he would always bring us extra towels. At a restaurant one night, Maria's baked potato came wrapped in foil like a swan, and she told the waiter, "Oh, me gusta," which in Spanish means I like. And he said, "Oh, gracias," and he went away. And Maria turned to her mom and she said, "Do you know what me gusta means?" And her mom said, my goose? We laughed really, really hard about that night. As we got to high school, our group of friends grew and grew, but Maria and I remained as close as ever. We moved on from Mary Kate and Ashley and slumber parties, though, and graduated to romantic comedies and just staying in each other's houses really, really late. We also tried experimenting in the kitchen, hanging out with our church group, and continued traveling together. But what never changed was our fantasies about the future. We both developed crushes on boys from our hometown, and they happened to be best friends. I liked Adam and Maria liked Clinton. And both Adam and Clinton liked to fish. So when Maria went away to Chicago for one summer for a scholarship, she would write me fairly often, and one time she sent me a picture. She drew me and Adam fishing by day, and her and Clinton frying the fish for all four of us by night. So the phrase, "you fish, I fry," became an inside joke between the two of us for years and years, even though Clinton and Adam were only our friends at that point. The greatest thing about Maria and I's friendship is that we're so consistent. Even if we don't see each other face to face for long periods of time, like when she was away at Illinois State and I stayed home to go to community college, we always kept in touch and we always picked up right where we left off. So when she texted me late one night on a Thursday, when she'd normally be at Bloomington Normal at school, I didn't think anything was that strange until she came with a gift and I opened it, and inside was a little piece of paper that said, "Will you be my maid of honor?" And she was there to tell me that she was engaged to Clinton. Tears of joy were shed and wedding planning began. We made a special trip up to Chicago so we could find fabric so Maria's mom could make all the dresses, and multiple showers were had, as well as lots of fun and lots of stress. But when it was all said and done, Maria and Clinton became Mr. and Mrs. Lehman on February 17th of 2013. So let's fast forward 3 years to the present day, where Maria has clearly upheld her end of the bargain. She's a married 5th grade teacher, and I am a single grad student. That is until recently, when it was my turn to pay Clinton and Maria a random visit on a Thursday night. It was now time for Maria to stand by my side, as I said I do, to Adam. That's right, the Adam from You Fish, I Fry. So basically all of me and Maria's childhood dreams are now coming true. Our husbands will have been friends almost as long as me and Maria have, and although we won't be next door neighbors, we will be less than a mile away from each other. And once again, tears of joy were shed, and wedding plans were in full swing. We made a special trip to Chicago to find fabric so Maria's mom could make my dresses, and showers were had, and June 5th cannot come soon enough. So that is 15 years of friendship and counting. I can say with confidence that Maria is one of the greatest blessings God has given me. And although this project is for a graduate level class and not 4th grade, Maria is and always will be a shining star to me.